visit to Pawtucket always gives Red Sox fans a glimpse into the future. Today, some familiar names in the mix as well. From historic McCoy Stadium, it's the Paw Sox and the Durham Bulls in the rubber match of a 3-game series. And alongside Bob Montgomery, I'm Alex Faust. Rusney Castillo, the big splash signing for the Red Sox last September, all the hype in spring training, and then a stint on the disabled list. Today, he gets the start in right field for the Paw Sox.
He's been out for a couple of days because of a right shoulder injury here that he suffered earlier in the season. He is a very, very aggressive player. He likes to be aggressive at the plate. He likes to be aggressive in the outfield. This is some of the highlights from this year's spring training. You'll also notice with all of his aggressive offense, he hits the ball all over the ballpark. That is certainly a very big, strong suit for him. And he'll shag it down in the outfield with a very good throwing arm to go along with all of the offense.
The other player we're going to keep an eye on here today, Jackie Bradley Jr., who has seen stints with the Red Sox, actually played a whole chunk of the season last year with the Red Sox. He'll be in center today for the Paw Sox.
Alex, he fell in some doldrums last year when he got to the big leagues. He has not lost his defensive ability. He can still go get it. If it stays in the air long enough, he's going to catch it. He was paired up with Chili Davis in spring training. He's also paired up with Rich Gedman, who was a batting instructor for him earlier in his minor league career. He's got those offensive numbers running again, what they really wanted to see from Bradley. Good chance that these numbers will get him back to the big leagues.
The Red Sox have needed consistent starting pitching this year. The answer might be in the future with Brian Johnson. He'll get the start for the Paw Sox today as they take on the Durham Bulls at McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket. Rubber match of a 3-game series. First pitch on the way next. Welcome back to McCoy Stadium, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. The Paw Sox and the Durham Bulls in the final game of a 3-game set. Let's quickly get you the Durham starting lineup here. Mater, Velez, Matuk at the top of this order. All have somewhat struggled this series, though Mater has a home run. J.P. Arancibia, you'll recognize that name with the Tampa Bay Rays. This is their AAA affiliate. Luke Maley, Corey Brown, Leonardo Reginato at shortstop. Alexi Casilla at second, and Vince Belnomi at first base. Brian Johnson on the mound for the Paw Sox here. And Monty, this is a guy that a lot of folks are going to have their eye on today.
This man throws a lot of strikes. He can control both sides of the plate. And over his career, Alex, he's done something I'm extremely impressed with. You add his hits and his base on balls up, they barely total or don't reach the total of number of innings. That is a big, strong mark, in my estimation, of a pitcher.
Only 2 earned runs in 21 innings pitched for Brian Johnson, and we are underway with the first pitch catching the outside corner to Taylor Mater, the third baseman for the Durham Bulls. 2 for 9 in this series with a home run as Johnson works quickly, and quickly Mater is in an 0-2 hole.
Not to mention the control with the lack of hits given up and the base on balls. Johnson can strike out more than his share of batters.
Johnson's pitch up the first baseline. Nice snag by Travis Shaw at first base. With that, we'll quickly get you a look at the Paw Sox defense with Travis Shaw making the play at first. Bryce Brents, Jackie Bradley Jr., Rusney Castillo in right, Chiquini Marrero and Coyle with Shaw at first. Matt Spring behind the plate. Backup catcher situation for the Paw Sox as Blake Swihart was called up to the Red Sox earlier this weekend. Johnson upstairs in the delivery to Eugenio Velez, the left fielder. We'll keep an eye on the pitch clock in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. This is lined deep into left center field. Going back, Brents and Bradley. They'll both watch it nick off the bottom of the wall. And a 1-out double for Velez. He's standing on second with a line drive into the left field gap.
It's the second double of the year for the Durham shortstop, and this ball is a rocket. If the wind were not quite as strong out to right field, this ball gets a push from the left field line into the deeper part of the ballpark here at McCoy. This ball may well have been out of here, and instead it's just a 1-out double.
So here's Mikey Matuk, the right fielder, with 1 away in the first. And Brian Johnson working from the stretch for the first time. Big hack from Matuk, who's 1 for 9 in this series with a strikeout. We'll see how quickly Johnson works now that he has a man on base. You see the pitch clock in the lower right-hand corner. This is low and in, count 1-1.
That clock I don't think will be really in effect for Johnson. He likes to get the ball, get the sign, and let's go back to the mound. I think that's one reason he's so successful with not giving up any more base on balls that he does. Doesn't think about it. He gets it and throws it. Here it is. See what you can do with it.
Coyle running in from second to draw Velez back to the bag. Johnson steps off. Tuck's been pretty good with runners in scoring position this year as he waves and an off-speed pitch.
One thing we might clue our viewers in on, if you're not quite familiar with this clock, they're trying this in the minor leagues. The pitcher has to be into his pitching motion. That doesn't mean the ball has to be out of his hand. For example, there where he stepped off to protect the runner in the infield, the clock starts over then when he's back on the mound and ready to go.
Ball gets away from Spring, and there's no play at third. And Velez will get there on the wild pitch. Here are the rules, and they are somewhat fluid what they're doing in AAA. They actually had a tweak to this on Monday of this past week. You take a look, you have the 20-second rule where the pitcher has to be set, but they've changed it even more so in the last week or so, where on a foul ball or a dead ball situation, there is no clock. So you'll see in this most recent situation, this gets right through Spring, and the first run of the game comes across on what is a passed ball. Velez got to third on the wild pitch. The second one gets through Spring, and the Durham Bulls have a 1-0 lead.
Boy, this is really strange looking here. I don't know if somebody crossed somebody up. You don't think so with somebody at second base. Oh, the ball just took a bounce, kind of a funny, weird bounce. It may have hit off the front edge of the plate, right through the wickets to the backstop, and Durham scores.
So a full count. The pitch low and in to Pawtucket, and so he will get a base on balls with one away, and a bit of a rocky start for Brian Johnson. First the line drive double for Velez, and now a walk. That'll bring up the cleanup man, J.P. Arancibia. Well, for Brian Johnson, we know he works quickly, doesn't have overpowering stuff, but has a 4-pitch arsenal to work with. Fastball that is pretty much in the low 90s. His best pitches occur. Count 0-1 to Arancibia. And perhaps, Monty, what a lot of folks are saying with the Red Sox, perhaps the most major league ready of the Paw Sox rotation right now.
His numbers right now indicate that. That's for certain.
Quick pick-off move. Not much doing at first.
Alex, there's a lot to be said for velocity. There's a lot more to be said for movement and control of both sides of the strike zone, or I should say both sides of the plate. And that's what Johnson seems to be able to do. Give me a guy with a lot of movement, especially a left-hander with a lot of movement, who can control both sides of the plate, kind of a running away fastball from the right-handed hitters, and a curveball that would work away from the left-handers. And he can get it in the strike zone consistently. He can keep them a little bit off the aggressive side. Any pitcher, you will find yourself in the big leagues.
Johnson deals low and in. And appealed at first, but took nowhere near going around. Well, Johnson is he's been lighting up this league. Leads the International League in ERA, sub-1 entering the day. Not often you could say that about a starter, even through 4 starts. Ground to the third. Nice backhand to stop Cicchini. He'll flip to second for 1. On to first. Not in time. It was close, and a lot closer than perhaps it seemed off the bat.
When Cicchini had to go to his knee, I'm thinking they only get the force play at second. No chance at first, but it was very close at first. Cicchini scrambles to his right, gets up, makes a very accurate and quick throw to Coyle at second, and I'm not so sure he wasn't out at first.
Yeah, it was pretty close. No video review at this level. He won't have a challenge. First pitch into Luke Maley, the catcher, foul back to the screen. So Durham Bulls team entering the day 13-11. Paw Sox at 15-9. Durham second in the South Division of the International League. Count 1-1. Pawtucket with a win yesterday in Game 2 of this series took over first place in the North Division of the International League. A half game up on Buffalo entering the day. One and one to Luke Maley, who did not play yesterday for Durham. Take a quick check of the International League standings. In the North Division, Pawtucket, we mentioned that win yesterday, and Buffalo with a loss. But pretty tight at the top. And these two teams playing today, the Red Sox affiliate and the Tampa Bay Rays affiliate. Johnson's 1-2 fouled off. Even with men on base, Brian Johnson working quickly. That pitch clock has yet to become an issue. Although there was an instance right as penalties began being enforced on Friday where Rusney Castillo was nicked stepping out of the box. And on a dead ball situation such as this, Maley can take all the time he needs, trying to retrieve that ball at the third base line as well. Ball and 2 strikes with a run in off of what's being scored as 2 wild pitches from Brian Johnson in the top of the first. He gets Maley with a high fastball. Half an inning through at McCoy Stadium. Durham with a 1-0 lead. 2 wild pitches from Brian Johnson as the Durham Bulls up 1-0 on the Pawtucket Red Sox here at McCoy Stadium. Pawtucket lineup, a lot of familiar faces you'll see here. Jackie Bradley Jr. leading things off. Rusney Castillo will get a shot. Batting in the 2 spot, Travis Shaw at first, Bryce Brent's in left. Matt Spring behind the plate. Backup catcher, as you mentioned, Garrett Cicchini, who's steadily come up through the Red Sox organization. Luke Mott, Devin Marrero, Sean Coyle round out the lineup. Scott Diamond, the starter for Durham today. He's won back-to-back starts for the first time in 2 years, and he has also been superb. Much like Brian Johnson, very few runs allowed this year. 19 of his 21 innings pitched have been scoreless. But on the first pitch, Bradley lines it into left for a leadoff single for the Paw Sox. Taking a look at the defense for Durham. Velez, Brown, and Matuk from left to right in the outfield, with Motter, Reginaldo Casilla, and Belnomi, across the infield, and Luke Maley behind the plate, catching Scott Diamond. And that pitch clock already in order. Diamond has yet to come set. We'll keep an eye on that all game long. Here's Rusney Castillo. A lot of folks seeing what he can do in right as he gets the start here today. Castillo this season, very limited work. He spent the bulk of it on the disabled list. First pitch grounded to short, could be 2. And it is. So Castillo grounds into the 6-4-3 double play, and just like that, 2 away.
That's about as routine as you can make a 6-4-3 double play. Couple of bounces to the Durham shortstop. Little easy flip onto his pivot man. And Castillo out by a long way over at first as the Bulls complete the double play.
This only his 6th game of the year, Monty. Injured to start the year, and of course all that fanfare in spring training as well. Big splash for the Red Sox in September, signing him, and he actually joined the Paw Sox last year. First pitch to strike to Travis Shaw on that championship run for Pawtucket.
Did he also not have some leg problems during spring training that cost him some at-bats there, if I'm not mistaken? So he's probably, for all intent and purposes, maybe just toward the end of a spring training, you might say, for him. With his absence here, he hurt a right shoulder, inflamed the right shoulder, making a diving catch in the outfield earlier in the season. So he just hasn't had that many at-bats, either in spring training or the early part of the season here.
Popped up, shallow left. Velez on the way in for the easy catch. Only 3 batters come to the plate for the Paw Sox. They trail by 1 after an inning. Durham Bulls with the edge over the Paw Sox after an inning of play here at McCoy Stadium. If you're planning a group outing, birthday party, or just want to enjoy a night out, come to McCoy Stadium for exciting AAA baseball. Paw Sox return to McCoy Stadium May 11th through the 17th as they host Indianapolis and Columbus. Visit pawsox.com for ticket information. Alex Faust, Bob Montgomery with you across New England on NESN, and we welcome those of you watching on WRAL in North Carolina as well. Rubber match of a 3-game series between the Durham Bulls and the Pawtucket Red Sox. Both teams near the top of their division, and a rematch of the last 2 championship series for the Governor's Cup in the International League. This is Corey Brown, who swings and misses on a fastball up and in. Brown actually played with Pawtucket last year and received his championship ring from the Sox at the beginning of the series. There's that nice curve from Johnson, which is pegged at perhaps his best pitch. Brown 3 for 8 this series with a homer. And he's rung up on that curve from Johnson. Second strikeout for Brian Johnson.
A freezer curveball. It looks like it's going to start right at the right shoulder of Brown, and then look at the end result. There's the pitch right at the shoulder. The batter gives up on it. Good tight rotation. Good sharp breaking ball for his second strikeout.
Here's Reginado, the shortstop for Durham. 1 for 4 yesterday. Got Cicchini playing in on the grass at third. Running against the bunt. Reginado can run well. 1-1 count. Reginado called up from Montgomery, the AA affiliate for the Rays, a few weeks ago. Two and 1 the count here from Brian Johnson. As we already see, gets in that rhythm and works quickly. Line softly to right, coming in. Castillo will have to have it bounce in front of him. Could have tried a layout of some kind, but it's a little short.
Well, after diving and hurting that shoulder earlier in the year, he may be a little reluctant to get on the ground for a softly looping line drive that'll fall in front of him. Actually played it quite well. That ball took a little bit of an awkward hop on him. Played into a single. Ground ball gets you out of the inning.
There's Alexi Casilla, second baseman for Durham. Knees buckle on an 0-1 pitch. Casilla, veteran, former Twins farmhand, and he's in an 0-2 hole. Casilla spent most of last season with the Norfolk Tides, the Baltimore Orioles affiliate in AAA. A long DL stint. 2 seasons with the Orioles organization and picked up during the offseason by the Rays. The 0-2 bounced in the dirt, blocked by Spring. The runner's taking off. And there's no throw for Reginado, who got a good jump on that ball that skipped about 55 feet from the mound. And no play for Matt Spring.
It was almost as if Reginado had a looking glass over there. He was well onto his way to second when this ball hits into the dirt, maybe expecting a breaking ball with the 0-2 count. Got it into the dirt, easily picks up a stolen base, his first.
And the third wild pitch for Brian Johnson, though. Got to give a lot of credit to Reginado on that. It's almost like a stolen base. It's latched foul. Just like that, the Bulls are threatening yet again. And a 1-out double in the first, and now Reginado at second. The 1-2 popped up center field and shallow. Bradley coming in, Marrero going out, and it's Marrero who makes the play.
Earlier in the day was just about a perfect sky. Now we reached a part of the day here where there could be a little bit of an issue with a high sky, not to mention that. Also, a pretty stiff breeze blowing to straightaway right field. That ball looked like it was just going to be maybe a step or two into the outfield grass, and before Marrero got to it, he was probably 8 or 10 steps into the outfield grass.
First pitch up and in to Belnomi, the first baseman. They're expecting good weather for the Red Sox game tonight at Fenway as well. Final game of that series against the Yankees. Vince Belnomi 1 for 3 on Friday. And he checks his swing. What are your impressions in the first inning and a half here from Brian Johnson so far?
I love his pace of work. Let's go. Let's get it in the strike zone. He does that. It accomplishes a couple of things. One, sometimes when you think too much, that gets you into a problem. By working at the pace he's working and throwing strikes, he keeps his infielders and his outfielders on the edge of their toes. No, they don't get laid back. A lot of 3-0 and 3-1 counts. Now they start to kind of drag. Keeps everybody in the game. More importantly, it keeps himself in the game. The ball back to him. Get the sign down. Let's go.
3-1 pitch inside. Second walk for Brian Johnson. That's perhaps the knock in the first inning plus for Johnson. A couple wild pitches and a couple walks. And a visit from Matt Spring. So the lineup turns over with Motter, the third baseman.
And it's not only that, you hate to see the ninth spot hitter walk, who's hitting under 200, and not only that, he was a left-hander. Got behind him right away, could not catch up. So as you mentioned, now you turn the corner, you get back to the guys who drive the runs in.
First and second with 2 out. And a 0-1 hole for Motter, lined out to third. Lined out to first rather, his first trip. It's a good fastball from Johnson coming in the inner half of the plate. Oh, 0-2 to Motter. And a step off. And that'll reset that pitch clock.
I don't know if you saw it there. That may have been this is one of the things they're having a problem with. The clock did not reset at 20. When he went back on the mound, it was still ticking down from 3. That's one of the complaints they've had, because there's so much inconsistency in different ballparks where you go to get that started. I made a suggestion in our game here on opening night. Let the third base umpire have a clicker. Let him be the one that starts that clock or controls the operation of that clock. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do that. This is 2015. They could come up with that technology, I would think.
Swing and a miss from Motter, goes down swinging. Third strikeout for Brian Johnson, and he escapes a bit of a jam in the second. 1-0 Durham after an inning and a half. Tomorrow night on NESN Next Producer, 5 filmmakers from Husson University create a unique documentary to show how teamwork as a video production crew brings exciting college sports to live TV. Plus, Boston Globe film critic Ty Burr weighs in on a film with a dance sequence from a Wellesley College team. See how they responded on NESN Next Producer tomorrow at 11. Only on NESN. 1-0 Durham as we hit the bottom of the second. Alex Faust, Bob Montgomery with you, welcoming those who are watching on WRAL in Charlotte as well. In Raleigh, rather, excuse me. Bryce Brent's to lead it off for the Paw Sox. And a pop fly to the right side of the infield. Trouble for Belnomi, and he can't get it. Well, you talked about it, Monty. That sun is tough this time of day.
Tough, and I think this has got some wind and a bad angle. This is a bad angle for a first baseman to have to make this run. They're playing around for Brents to pull. Consequently, Caselli could not get there from second base. He would have had the better angle at it. The wind kept blowing that ball and it kept curving back toward fair territory. So Brents has been a factor of a little wind and a base hit.
Second hit of the ball game for the Paw Sox. Here's Matt Spring. First pitch inside.
Big shift here again from Matt Spring. All the infielders except the first baseman to the left field side of the bag.
2-0 now to Spring. And I got the second baseman to the left side of the bag and a gaping hole on the right.
Yeah, we could run the 4:30 MBTA train between first and second over there on the right side. Actually, could make a couple trips in there. Oh, and he had a pitch to hit it in that side with, and he was trying to. Oh boy, this is ready-made here. Kind of up and away a little bit, and oh, he just fouls it off. That ball had right field tabbed all over it.
You know, it's interesting with major league teams employing the shift seemingly on every hitter in some capacity. As Diamond deals low and in. I'm curious, Monty, as a hitter, you've got to be thinking that there's a gaping hole on the right side, and it seems so simple. Just slap it that direction.
That's what they want you to do. They want to take you out of your strong suit. That's the reason they put that shift on. You think teams would like to see David Ortiz go to left field all the time with that shift on? Probably still hit some home runs, but he wouldn't be nearly the offensive threat if they took him out of that pull situation. That's the reason for the defensive move. I never saw him play, but I've had guys tell me 1,000 times that if Williams would ever have decided to go against the shift and he had the ability to do that, he might have hit another 25 or 30 points higher in his career, maybe more.
Still didn't do too bad.
No.
Line deep into right field. Matuk going back, but he'll play it in front of the warning track for out number one.
You got to remember, in the big leagues where you have a pitching staff that should, I say should, you should have pitchers on your staff that has much better control. If you are going to put defensive shifts on, then you have to have pitchers that are able to throw the kind of pitches that has that hitter work into that shift. If pitchers miss with that, then they allow some of the hitters to go against that shift, and sometimes you have to question whether it's a good time to do it. You might not do it. You might not play as strong a shift with pitchers who do not have a sharper control.
Garen Giacchini, the third baseman for the Paw Sox, up. Younger brother Gavin also coming up through the minors in the Mets organization. First pitch strike from Scott Diamond.
I can assure you Garen Giacchini is a much better than a 177 hitter. They're trying to get him to, he's got very good hands as a hitter, very quick hands. He'll get himself back on track here pretty soon. He's one of those types of hitters that all of a sudden you look up and he's 2 for 3, 2 for 4, 3 for 5 in a game, and you'll see that average start to climb. He's a much better hitter than 177.
He's also a bit of a do-it-all type, much like Brock Holden. Play infield, play outfield. Swinging and a miss, nice off-speed.
Well, they're trying to get him to learn different positions. With the signing of Sandoval at third base, you're probably not going to move him out of that position, although Sandoval could down the road become a DH in the future, and you still need looking for a third baseman. But they're trying to get Giacchini to learn to play another position or two. He's played some first. He's played some left field. Left field he seems to be pretty good at.
Hit well, left center. Velez and Brown both going back, but Brown with plenty of time and room makes the catch. Well, that's, I think, the challenge for a lot of these players is that in many respects they're log jams at various spots with the Red Sox right now, and especially in the outfield. When Shane Victorino comes back, it's going to be even more acute. So Luke Montz, the DH, with Bryce Brents off first.
Sometimes you wonder if you have too many players at a certain position, and you say, whoa, wait a minute, maybe I don't have enough. And consequently, the Red Sox are facing that situation now with their catches, with the injury to Vasquez in spring training, now the broken hand for Hannigan the other night. All of a sudden, you thought you had one of your stronger elements in your organization, the catching department, and all of a sudden you're not as strong as you thought. One area, of course, you can never have too many of our pitchers.
Well,
that's always room for something else to happen there.
That's a challenge unto itself. Line drive center field. This one pretty deep. Brown going back to the track, to the wall. It's gone! Luke Muntz with a 2-run homer to give the Paw Sox the lead. Second homer of the season for Luke Muntz, and it's 2-1 Pawtucket.
Muntz does a lot of playing around the bag over at first. You see him, he is built well, good strong upper body, good strong arms, and this is just a good strong upper body swing here. Not much leg action here, just kind of picks the front foot up, sets it down, and drills this ball to just about the deepest part of the ballpark. Deep right center field. He knows about the second step out of the box. He's going to be touching them all. So does Corey Brown after about 4 or 5 steps.
I'll bring up Devin Marrero. And Luke Muntz, who's only hitting 170 on the season. That's his second home run. The 6th and 7th runs batted in. Line drive for Devin Marrero into left field, but in the air and playable for Velez. And the inning comes to a close. But the Paw Sox take the lead on a 2-run homer from Luke Muntz. It's 2-1 Pawtucket. 2-1 lead for Pawtucket through 2 innings of play. Alex Faust, Bob Montgomery, joined by Pawtucket manager Kevin Bowles. Will be on headset with us here this half inning. And Kevin, this has been an interesting week with all the buildup leading to Rusney Castillo getting his shot in right here today. I guess your initial thoughts. I know it's been a patient process on your end of getting him back into the field.
Right. Well, he's a terrific talent. There's no doubt about it. And he was selling out in the first series at Lehigh Valley. And, he ended up tweaking his shoulder a little bit, so he's had some time off. But the first 2 games, he's DH'd, and now we've got him in right field, so we're excited to have him back.
How much conversation do you have with the folks up at the major league level and Ben Cherington and that sort of thing?
Well, it's constant communication with all of our guys. It's not just Castillo. Again, with all these guys, there's a lot at stake here. And so we want to make sure that the information flows and that we're all on the same page, and we definitely do that.
Having a big plus for Castillo, the fact that he just what do they call it? Had a little inflammation in the shoulder because he has a very good throwing arm. Then that would be a shame for some kind of injury to take place there.
Well, he was fine. It was left shoulder, so he's okay there. Again, it was a little bit of a scare at the time, but he's checked out fine. He's a strong body. This kid is put together. And we think that there's definitely going to be some durability in there because he's such a good athlete, and we're excited about the talent that we have here.
You were talking earlier today in your office about he's so excited to be back in the lineup now. You got to put a reins check on him a little bit to keep some of his aggressiveness down.
Well, he's again, we want him to play his game, but also keep it in check a little bit. He has been aggressive from what we've seen early on here with his at-bats. Maybe the effort levels ticked up just quite a bit, and we're just looking for him to settle in, get himself comfortable, and get to playing again.
Spike Matuk, who walked his first trip. Curious your thoughts as well, Kevin, on Brian Johnson and through 2 innings plus here on what you've seen from him.
Well, 4-pitch mix. Looked like he's lost a little bit of his command. He spiked a couple balls there in that first inning. I thought Spring did the best he could as far as blocking those balls, but he's got quality stuff and repeatable delivery. He maintains his stuff from the stretch, and we're excited about how he's progressing also.
And that curve is his best pitch?
No, fastball is. I mean, we're going to go with the fastball with our guys. It's again fastball command, but with the curveball, cutter, changeup, he's got a lot of weapons for him, and he's a guy that's not afraid of contact. He goes right after hitters.
Had a great year last year with Portland and a call up here. You also have a couple of other familiar names for Red Sox fans down here on the farms. This is fouled at the plate. Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field, and we were talking about this logjam in the outfield for the Red Sox, and now you get to have Jackie Bradley Jr. come back and chip in for you guys.
Right, he's been terrific from day one. Great attitude. He's been fun to have in the clubhouse. He's an exciting player, and I don't think we need to forget about what this guy can actually do. He had some struggles, obviously, at the plate at the major league level last year, but what we've seen the adjustments. We see him get his lower half established, and he's got better balance at the plate. He's impacting the ball to all fields, and also the quality defender. We all know about that, but he's having a terrific start to the season.
Runner goes, pitch popped up into right. Castillo back to the wall, and it's gone. That carried out for Pawtucket. It's a 2-run shot, and Durham retakes the lead. Coach, thanks for the time. We'll let you step back into game action here. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, fellas. I'm going to go throw some stuff.
All right.
See ya.
Mike Pawtucket with a 2-run homer for the Durham Bulls, and they grab a 3-2 lead.
That is the first home run of the year for Pawtucket. It's also the first home run that Johnson has given up. And I think this is more or less a routine fly ball, were it not for a rather sizable breeze that we have here at McCoy today. The ball well out of the reach for Castillo, and just as quickly as the Paw Sox took the lead with a home run, they lose it with a home run.
Another guy who can hit one is J.P. Arancibia, who hit one on Friday. Line fair, third base side, and kicking into the left field corner. Brents goes to retrieve, but Arancibia has a double. Second time he's reached safely today, and Durham continues to hit the ball hard.
Laser shot, well fair inside the left field line, and once it hits on the ground, it did not take it long to get all the way to the corner, some 325 feet away. A cruising double for Arancibia.
Second double of the year for the Durham DH. I'll bring up Luke Maley. Brian Johnson has been working from the stretch an awful lot today. First pitch upstairs to Maley. And you heard from Kevin Bowles, a little bit jittery at the start, or at the outset here today. Time called, and pitching coach for Pawtucket, Bob Kipper, will have a word with Brian Johnson, who seems like has just been a bit uneven today, Monty.
Sometimes when you are a fast worker and you don't have the command that you usually have, sometimes you have to change that pace maybe to go back and get it. It's not uncommon for a pitcher to kind of lose what he has and then maybe even speed up his delivery. These are a couple of the wild pitches earlier in the ball game. You normally would not see him throw that kind of a curveball that lands only about 57 feet. A little bit of a calm down conversation there, and maybe it's just to get him to slow his rhythm down. Sometimes the pitching coach can do that. Sometimes an experienced catcher can catch the habit of going a little bit too fast or getting a little bit. Now you can walk out slowly and calm him down, get him back on stride.
Johnson with a man in scoring position here as Maley takes outside 3-0. Arancibia on second, the former Toronto Blue Jay. 4-pitch walk to Luke Maley. That was close.
I don't think that was even. I think this is looks like a pretty good pitch here. Check the glove of spring. Call the ball.
Johnson already racking up the pitches. This will be number 60 in his first offering to Corey Brown. Pop foul, first base side. Shaw gives it a look, and it will land in the seats.
So the one thing today that is turning out to be his Achilles for Brian Johnson is the fact that he's walked so many people coming into this ballgame. I mentioned that He doesn't walk very many people compared to the innings. 9 base on balls for him coming in to this game today. He already has, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 now. So that's really the opposite of where he usually works.
Also ended the day with only 1 wild pitch on the season. 1-1 here to Corey Brown. Johnson ranking number 6 on Baseball America's prospects, the Boston Red Sox organization. Had a phenomenal season last year with Portland in Double-A. 10-2 record, 1.75 ERA. And he's continued that this season, though has struggled today. Line, fair first base side, but Shaw with the snag. Nobody covering the bag. Johnson slow to get off the mound or didn't recognize where that ball was going to land. Brown reaches safely. I'd imagine they'll score it a single.
It's all coming apart now for Brian Johnson. This ball's hit to the right side. Instinctively, the pitcher screams over to that bag to help the first baseman out. In this instant, Johnson had fallen off the mound to the third base side and became a spectator.
It's a nice play from Shaw to snag it on the short hop.
Saved the run.
Certainly did that, but the base is now loaded with Reginato at the plate. Infield about halfway. Popped him up. Coyle calls for it. And backpedaling, lost the handle. The play at the plate is a forced play. Spring's left foot was not on the bag.
No, it's nothing. Infield fly. They call it an infield fly. So the batter's out. Runners run at their own risk. So you have no play. The only way the guy's out at the plate if you tag him.
And now we'll have a conversation between Kevin Bowles and our home plate umpire today. Bit of a calamitous play.
Once again, we got a wind issue here. Maybe a little bit of a sun. The wind off the edge of the glove. Now the infield fly was called. You'll see. I don't know. Well,
yes,
you see the second baseman umpire.
Yep.
See his arm go up. Now the batter's out. Runners may run at their own risk from this point. So the only way the runner is out is if the throw's there on time and he's tagged out. He was not. He runs and he's safe.
And that, in all that calamity, is the first out of the inning. Arancibia comes in from third to score. And it's now 4-2 Durham. No error has been charged because, as you mentioned, Monty, the runners run at their own risk.
Well, there's no error because there's an out.
Right. And that, I think, is the clarification that Kevin Bowles wants to get. Well, it has been a sloppy inning for the Paw Sox, who now trail by 2. Get no error for Coyle on the play. Now runners at first and second, and Casilla at the plate.
All right, you got to get yourself back together here now. You got to find some way to get a ground ball. It looked like the pop up there was going to be the big out for him in this inning.
And it's grounded through the right side for a base hit. They'll hold Maley at third. The base is once again loaded. So 1-out single for Casilla.
These Durham hitters are getting quite aggressive here because there's a lot of strikes in that strike zone, and with guys in scoring position, they're finding some openings, some slots. This ball, a solid ground ball hit through the right side, but can only advance the runners by 90 feet.
Here's Belnomi, the number 9 hitter. And a bit of stirring going on in the Pawtucket bullpen. And of course, Monty, when you're struggling for your command a little bit, you're not going to get the close calls at the plate. 2-0 now. Maley at third, Brown at second, and Casilla at first, and a 3-0 count. Nowhere to put Belnomi. There's a strike.
They need to cut this off right here. We're still in a very early stage of this game. The Paw Sox just trail by 2. They're one of the best come from behind teams in this league thus far in the young season.
Get the benefit of the doubt on the slider, and it's a full count.
And they're second in the league in scoring runs, so it's not like they're down 2 here in the third inning. They're out of it. They certainly are not. They just need to cut this off right here if they possibly can at least save one of these runs.
Payoff pitch inside, and Johnson walks in a run. Second walk for Belnomi, the number 9 hitter. Maley comes in to score, and it's 5-2 Durham.
Well, same thing again, left-hander on the left-hander, and for some reason that strike zone is a little tough for Johnson to find to a 178 ninth spot hitter. Walks in twice, that time producing a run.
And Brian Johnson's sterling ERA will be blemished this afternoon. Top of the order, Taylor Motter. Stopped by Spring. And that curveball, we mentioned, we were talking with Kevin Boyles, that fastball is the number 1 pitch for Johnson, but the curveball hasn't been working.
Tried to change up, and that's out of phase.
2-0 to Taylor Motter. And even the fastball now jumping inside. 3-0 to the Durham leadoff hitter. A walk, a homer, a double, another walk, a single, another hit, and then another walk. Now the count 3-1 to Taylor Motter. It has been a sloppy third inning for Pawtucket after they grabbed the 2-1 lead in the bottom half of the second. On the ground to third, could be 2. On to second for 1, but the throw was a bit wide at second and caused the relay on to first to draw Shaw just a bit off the bag. A run comes in to score, and it's 6-2 Durham.
Sean Coyle is forced to the outfield side, the left field side of the bag. Consequently, he can't get a lot on his throw. He does a terrific job just to get the force play there at second. The way Cicchini had to feel the ball and then make the move to make the throw to second was a little bit off the mark. Paw Sox do not get the double play. Durham scores another run, and that's going to be it for Johnson.
Well, an unfortunate outing for Brian Johnson, who will not last past the third today. Kevin Boyles will go to Robbie Scott out of the bullpen. Paw Sox trailing by 5. Short day for Brian Johnson. Durham leading Pawtucket 6-2 in the third. 5 runs in the inning for the Durham Bulls. New pitcher for the Paw Sox is Robbie Scott. This will only be his 3rd appearance with the Paw Sox this year. So limited numbers to go by. But the Paw Sox having to dig into their bullpen quite early in this game. It'll be Velez, the left fielder, who's already reached twice and scored 2 runs. Runners at the corners with just 1 away. First pitch low and away. Grounded foul, first base side. Velez has been fantastic for Durham. He's hit safely in 14 of 17 games this year. Started the season on a 10-game hitting streak. And now some digging to do for the Paw Sox. Lined into the left field gap. Brent's going back. He'll watch it bounce on the track and off the wall. One run is in. They'll hold Belnomi at third, or check that, Motter at third. But Durham extends the lead on a line drive double for Velez.
Velez hits a screaming liner to left field. He may have thought at that point right there it may be out of the ballpark, and it wasn't far from being. Short hops the ballpark in deep left center field. Runner comes in from third. It'll be a stand-up double and an RBI for Velez, his 5th of the year. RBI, that is.
He's having quite a day. 2 doubles and a walk. As here's Mike Matuk. Had a 2-run shot his last time up, as the Bulls have batted around in the third. And this one, Bob, just seemed to carry.
It was actually, he hits it pretty hard, but it's a real high fly ball to right, and then the wind got it. It just kept going, and then out of here.
Strike 3 called outside corner. Matuk rung up a nice curveball from the southpaw Robbie Scott. But the Paw Sox in a bit of a hole, trailing by 5 through 2.5. 6-run third inning for Durham, and they lead Pawtucket 7-2 through 2.5. May 16th at McCoy Field, join the Paw Sox for the first of 4 youth clinics. Paw Sox manager Kevin Bowles, pitching coach Bob Kipper, and several coaches and players will be on the field to offer youngsters instructions and tips on the game of baseball. Paw Sox Youth Clinic, May 16th from 2 to 3:15 p.m. at McCoy Field, followed by the Paw Sox hosting the Columbus Clippers at 6. You can visit pawsox.com for ticket information. First pitch, strike into Sean Coyle. Played a part in it was a sloppy inning for the Paw Sox in the top half of the third. 6 runs for the Durham Bulls as Coyle swings and misses on an 0-1 pitch. For Scott Diamond, a lot of time to sit and think. Shift on for Coyle. Pitch upstairs.
He doesn't mind if you get him 5 runs. He doesn't bother him at all to sit. He'd take a little longer if you get him more. Actually, 6 runs they got him. His job just got a little easier now.
Tapped in front of the plate. Tough play from Maley. But he gets Coyle in plenty of time.
Kind of soft out in front of home plate. This ball did not go very far once it hits the ground. Well, Coyle kind of reached for it and just barely tapped it. Haley out quickly to make the play. Out 2-3 was Sean Coyle.
I'll turn the lineup over for the Paw Sox. Jackie Bradley Jr. on a 3-game hitting streak, now extended to 4 with his leadoff single. Fourth pro season for Jackie Bradley. And he's behind 0-2. Got to give a lot of credit to Scott Diamond as well for pouring in first pitch strikes here, Monty.
That's what I said a moment ago. It's a little easier right now with a 5-run lead. You can just find that strike zone all you want to. It's one thing that's helped Jackie Bradley. He started swinging more pitches that are his kind of pitches to handle, rather than chasing a lot of bad balls. Sometimes you get 2 strikes on you, you chase automatically. That's what he used to do a lot when he was having the tough time last year in the big leagues. Pitchers would get ahead of him, and then they would just expand their pitches, and he would chase. Just like he did there. Nice job by Maley to block that ball. He's out on the strikeout. 2-3.
One of the strengths that Bradley had, as here is Castillo, was that good eye coming up through the minors. First pitch strike to Rusney Castillo. Rounded into a 6-4-3 double play his first time. Played 11 games with the Red Sox last year. Of course, a great fanfare towards the end of the season, but after tweak in spring training and an injury to start the minor league season, no real timetable for his return to the big leagues. Spent 18 days on the disabled list and started this week at DH, making his first start in right since coming back. He's ahead in the count, 3-1. Travis Shaw waiting on deck. The 3-1 swing and a miss, big hack from Castillo.
For a lot of our viewers today may not be quite that familiar with Castillo. He played 5 years in the major league, what they call the major leagues in Cuba. Good healthy swing there. Over those 5 years, they hit over 300, right around 320 with 51 home runs.
We'll draw a 1-out walk here. But I'd imagine that Red Sox fans are going to have to be patient. He's signed through 2020, so he's got a long time still to get up to snuff at the major league level. There's no rush, especially given that he had an early injury this season. No rush to get him back up to Fenway. So with 2 away, here is Travis Shaw. Shaw in his second season with the Paw Sox. Early season call-up last year from Portland. Line drive, or rather a fly ball, to pretty shallow left field, and Velez puts it away. Paw Sox trailing by 5 through 3. Durham with a 7-2 lead over the Paw Sox at McCoy Stadium. We're already 1 month into the baseball season. Have you downloaded the Red Sox schedule into your web, desktop, or mobile calendar program just yet? If not, visit NESN.com/schedule today. Durham Bulls spotted the Paw Sox for 6 runs in the 3rd inning. And Chase starter Brian Johnson. Robbie Scott, southpaw, on the mound for the Paw Sox. He'll face Aaron Sebia to start the 4th. We'll be chatting with Paw Sox pitching coach Bob Kipper next inning. 1-1 the count to Aaron Sebia. And I'm curious, Bob, to get his thoughts on where did Brian Johnson go wrong today, perhaps?
You know what? It just may be, Alex, maybe one of those days that it just didn't fit into the slot right today. That's all. That's going to happen to the best of them. That happens to Hall of Famers. Some days you grip that baseball, it's just not there, or the rhythm. You think the rhythm's there, but you're trying to fight it. Some days it just never gets back into gear, and you take it, you try to learn something from it, and wait 4 days from now, see how much better you can be the next time they give you the ball.
It's also tough to hold a sub-1 ERA for very long. Scalded foul left side.
Well, not if you keep getting guys out.
Yes.
That's just one of those days for him. Happens to the best of them.
7 runs, 7 hits for the Durham Bulls. Trying to take this series. They won on Friday, and Paw Sox came back, win yesterday. Called strike 3 to Aaron Sebia. This is what happened earlier with Brian Johnson. A couple wild pitches, a couple of hard hit balls, and a short day for one of the Red Sox top prospects. Just 2 2/3 innings for Brian Johnson. Led the International League in ERA entering the days. Here is Luke Maley, catcher for Durham, 0 for 1 on the day.
One thing a little bit tough about being a pitcher when you work every 4 or 5 days, if you have a bad day, you got a long time to think about it. If you're a batter and you go 0 for 4, tomorrow you're right back in the action. You can go 2 for 4 or 3 for 5, and all of a sudden that's erased. You don't have that long period to think about what went wrong or what you could have done differently.
Line drive. Nice snag by Coyle at second, and he'll get the out. That's a tough play with Coyle reaching 5 steps into the right field grass to make an out.
Using the angle. He's running toward the right field fence here. Gets out, outstretches, goes to the slide. Nice pick, accurate throw. And Maley is retired 4-3. Put a star by that play.
Here's Corey Brown, former Paw Sox outfielder. And first pitch strike from Robbie Scott. Brown's had a great series, including today, 4 for 10. With a homer, single, and a run scored today. Count 1-1.
So Robbie Scott dropped down for his first strikeout back in the 3rd inning when he came in. He dropped down a little bit Port Arthur sidearm to the right-hander to get the call 3rd strike. You are normally, you'd see that more to the left-hand batter, as the pitch previous to that one to Corey Brown. He kind of drops down. What the left-hander is trying to get the left-hander to do is kind of freeze him and maybe give him some ground, have the ball sweep across the outer part of the plate. Don't see it to the right-hand batters very often, although it worked for him against Matuk back, as I mentioned, in the 3rd.
Three and 1 the count. And Brown jumps out of the way of an inside fastball. It'll be a 2-out walk for Corey Brown. Pitching coach Bob Kipper, one of those days. Bound to have it every now and again. This Paw Sox pitching staff, it should be noted, one of the best in the league. Their ERA hovering around 3. Averaging over 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. There's Leonardo Reginato, takes outside for ball 1. Bluff from Brown at first, and a 2-0 count to Reginato. Brown's only attempted 3 stolen bases this year. He's reached on 2 of them. There's a strike. Called strike, and the count evens at 2-2. Robbie Scott, 4th season in the Red Sox organization. Came in undrafted from Florida State. And he'll check on Brown at first. Originally began his career in independent balls. You take a look at the numbers for Corey Brown on the base paths this year. Reginato fights off the curveball. Reginato with a single in the 2nd, and then that infield fly, which was called with the bases loaded, in the 3rd. And trouble for Sean Coyle on the fly ball. Out a run to score. There goes the runner. It's grounded foul.
Manager Jared Sandberg had an idea about that grounder, then wisely changed his mind. It was a little too hot to handle. Maybe even with the gloves, certainly without. Jared, the nephew of Ryan Sandberg, the current Philadelphia Philly manager.
First season with the Durham Bulls for Jared Sandberg. 2-2 the count with 2 away. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Reginado down on strikes with a high fastball. Solid inning for Robbie Scott to calm things down. The Paw Sox, however, trailing by 5. Durham Bulls with 7 runs through 3 innings of play. Headed to the bottom of the 4th at McCoy Stadium. On May 16th, former Boston Red Sox outfielder and member of the 2004 World Series champion Red Sox, Trot Nixon, will appear at McCoy Stadium, be signing autographs between 6:15 and 7:30 p.m. Later, stick around to watch the Paw Sox host the Columbus Clippers. It's all May 16th here at McCoy Stadium. For ticket information, visit pawsox.com.
The dirt dog, but he signs a nice, clean autograph.
Does he now?
Oh, indeed.
Heading to the bottom of the 4th here, the Paw Sox trailing by 5.
One of our fantasy camp managers every year down in Fort Myers. The Red Sox fantasy camp, the last part of January.
Be a fun night, May 16th. Here's Bryce Brent's leadoff single in the 2nd as he fights this off with the count 1-2. Paw Sox got that single from Brent's, the homer from Luke Motz to drive him in. But outside of the leadoff single to start the game from Jackie Bradley, that's been it for the Paw Sox. Pitch inside from Scott Diamond, who has been quite solid for the Durham Bulls today. Grounded to third. Motter backing up. And a long throw in time to get Brent's one away.
It's a textbook play by Motter at third. When the third baseman has to go so very deep, they have to make sure that they can plant themselves, and then notice the angle of his arm. He'll come right up over the top with this throw. Right, that's it. Perfect. That keeps the ball a little more velocity on it, and it keeps the ball from tailing back into the runner. Nicely done by the Durham third baseman.
Here's Matt Spring behind on the first pitch from Scott Diamond. Spring, the veteran, in his 12th pro season. And of course, with all the moves for the Red Sox, having to fill the vacant spot of Blake Swihart, Spring will get more playing time, essentially the backup catcher with the Paw Sox this year. With a couple spot starts at first base. Fouled at the plate. Count 2-1.
With the success that you see a lot of players having at the upper level of minor leagues and certainly in the big leagues, we're learning to play different positions. Mike Napoli, for example, was a catcher a number of years ago when he was in the Angels organization. It's good. It's a benefit. It's an upside to the player to have some versatility. Brock Holtz has made himself pretty close to an all-star. He could have been the mayor in Boston for a good part of last year, the different positions that he plays. And I was talking to Kevin about it today. He not only plays different positions, he plays them like he is that position player. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do for an infielder, to go into the outfield and be so good at it. Consequently, Mookie Betts is a fine example of being a second baseman. And if somebody just saw him play for the first time at the end of last year when he went into the outfield, you didn't know he was a second baseman unless somebody told you. Just a natural transition for him. Outstanding athletes, obviously, can make those switches. And the more a player can make himself versatile, get a catcher, first baseman, an outfielder, a first baseman, an infielder, an outfielder, keep yourself around this game for a long time.
Nice at bat here for Matt Spring, too, fouling off a couple pitches. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Paw Sox catcher. Right back to Diamond on one hop. And an easy play for the second out. Blake Swihart had quite an active day coming in for the Red Sox. First time at Fenway Park. Got a hit. Not bad for your first trip. And scored on a Mookie Betts double. Get his first run scored at the major league level, and was active all day yesterday. Had to take a couple pitches in the dirt, and one, as you saw, fouled back. So he's seeing quite a bit of action, and will expect to see quite a bit of action with Ryan Hannigan out after that hit by pitch from Mark Teixeira on Friday night. So here's Garen Cecchini, 0 for 1 on the day. Strike from Diamond over the outside corner, and Cecchini behind 1-2. Diamond's 1-2 delivery, low and away. The 2-2. Swing and a miss for Cecchini. And another strikeout for Scott Diamond. Second of the day. Paw Sox trailing by 5 at McCoy Stadium. 7-2 Durham over Pawtucket at McCoy Stadium. Fans, do you want to be on Dining Playbook? Billy Costa, Jenny Johnson want to hear what your favorite dish at your favorite restaurant is. All you have to do is just send a quick video or photo of your dish. Share a Dining Playbook on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Just hashtag TopNosh. Be on Dining Playbook. First pitch into Alexi Casilla, foul back to the screen. 7-2 Durham over Pawtucket. Kind of opened it up in the third inning. 6-run third inning for the Durham Bulls, trying to win the rubber match of this 3-game series. Alex Faust, Bob Montgomery here with you. Monty, a rough start for Brian Johnson here, but I give a lot of credit to Durham settling things down. This is a rematch of the championship series in the International League last year.
These two teams are, well, they're accustomed to playing postseason play. Durham's been in a postseason a number of times, about 8 times, I believe. And the Paw Sox are getting a little familiar with that time of the year themselves. Winning the Governor's Cup 2 out of the last 3 years.
These two faced each other in the Governor's Cup Championship Series at the end of the year, the last 2 seasons. Durham won it in 2013. And had Pawtucket last year. It gives you an idea of the strength of the Red Sox farm system, that they've won 2 out of the last 3 Governor's Cups. As Casilla stays alive.
Don't sell Tampa's short either. They've had some pretty good players that have come through this Durham ball club to help them at the big league level. As a matter of fact, they just lost one of their better players. Joey Butler was just called to the big leagues last night about midnight. I think they have an outfielder, Jennings, that got hurt in Tampa.
Grounded right back to Scott, who knocked it down, but it dribbles away from him. And an infield single for Casilla.
Jared Sandberg was telling me that they had one of those watch events last night where they all got together and went to a restaurant somewhere to watch the boxing match. And about midnight, he got the call that they needed Butler in Tampa. So he was talking about how pleased that is to be able to go and teleplay, no matter what time of day it is, that he's going to the big leagues.
Butler had the second best batting average on this team at .317. Here's Vince Belnomi, takes a strike. And Brown, actually, or rather Butler, spent part of last season in Japan. He was in the St. Louis system and getting a ton of playing time in Memphis. Released in May and then played the remainder of the season in Japan. Actually wasn't hitting all that bad, but now Butler finds himself up with the Tampa Bay Rays. Strike called over the inside corner. Belnomi frozen on the fastball.
Sandberg also told me it could have well been Matuk. Matuk is, he thinks, probably the best all-round athlete on his team. So it happened to be that Butler was maybe a little hotter with the bat at the time.
0-2 pitch low and away. Scott taking a long look at first. And it gets Belnomi chasing, spinning around in the left-handed batter's box. Third strikeout for Robbie Scott.
This is where the left-hander gets to the left-hander. Notice the right hip of the hitter. Once the arm drops down there, left-handed batters have a tendency to kind of give ground to left-hand pitchers a little bit anyway. And then once that left-hander drops down a little sidearm, that batter give a little more ground, and a big sweeper winds up with the results they're looking for. Strikeout.
So with one away, here's the top of the order, and Taylor Motter, the third baseman. And despite the rest of the lineup having an eventful day, Motter not so much. He is yet to join the rest of this lineup in grabbing a hit. Lined out in the first, struck out in the second, and then reached on a fielder's choice in the third. Scott delivers low for ball 2. Casilla at first has tried stealing twice this year. He's been caught both times. In the air to left center. Bradley tracking it down, and he'll make the play.
Hitters hit a ball like that to left center field with Jackie Bradley. They might as well make a right turn out of the batter's box, because if it stays in the park and it's hit high enough, Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to shag it down. He did that with ease. Also leads the outfield with assists here. Threw out a runner at home plate yesterday in a close game won by the Paw Sox.
And for Bradley, it's more the offensive side that we're working on here. I mean, beyond the fact that there's a logjam in the outfield as time is called. Mike Napoli back in the lineup with the Red Sox, and of course Brock Holt, Alan Craig having good starts. Need to bolster the bullpen that's been taxed so early and often with the Red Sox, so just not enough space at the moment to join the big club.
Yeah, the other day for about 20 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, one day. Did not play that day, however.
And the reason that happened because they needed more pitching. They needed a fresher arm to work in that bullpen.
Eugenio Velez fouls this pitch off. The count 0-2. Velez has had a tremendous day. 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, and RBI. The Durham Bulls work with a runner at first and 2 away in the 5th. 6 runs in the 3rd inning for Durham to break this game open a bit. Slow roller foul, third base side. To Velez, a veteran in the minors. He's bobbed up and down. He played with San Francisco. The 0-2 barely missed. Velez had a great season in the Pacific Coast League last season. The 1-2 on the ground is short. Charging Marrero on to first to retire Velez and end the inning. 4.5 complete at McCoy Stadium. Durham Bulls in control. McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Paw Sox trailing by 5. Alex Faust, Bob Montgomery, joined by Paw Sox pitching coach Bob Kipper. And not a good start to the day, Bob, but we were just chatting during the break. Got some good help from your bullpen here the last few innings.
No question. I mean, I think, we saw an uncharacteristic outing by Brian Johnson. And, unfortunately, these types of outings do happen from time to time throughout a long season. And the best thing Brian Johnson can do is to kind of learn from the failures of today to hopefully ensure that outings like this don't happen, in the future. We try to minimize outings like this. And, of course, Robbie Scott came in and did a really nice job to help kind of stabilize things on the mound.
He's fouled at the plate. You guys have had a fantastic rotation, though, overall. One of the better ERAs in the league. One of the best strikeout per 9 inning numbers in the league. What are some of the highlights for your rotation this year?
Well, we do. We have an exciting group of guys. Obviously, the focus seems to be on, and rightfully so, the 3 lefties. Henry Owens, Eddie Rodriguez, and Brian Johnson. Matt Barnes, to his defense, really hasn't had the opportunity to really settle into a starting role here. He showed some real nice things the other day. And, of course, Stephen Wright has, I think, performed well here, really coming off a real nice 7-inning scoreless performances last start out. So the expectations here are high, and our guys understand the expectations here and are certainly working themselves in a position where down the road they can help our major league club win baseball games.
Well, back to Brian Johnson. When you went out to make the trip to the mound, what was the discussion? Were you trying to slow him down, or just say, "Look, it's one of these days. See if you can get me out of this inning"?
No, I was hoping actually to pick him up because I thought he was pitching a little too tentatively in the strike zone with his stuff. And Brian Johnson or any other pitcher is not going to pitch effectively or successfully pitching passively in the zone, and that's just something. Being around Brian for now a while, you kind of know what it looks like. And again, he hasn't had too many outings like this in over the last year and a half. And again, they happen, and he needs to learn from it. And really important that he turns the page on this outing here in the next day or two, and prepares himself to have a successful start his next time out.
And is in between work now, is there anything that you'd concentrate on with him?
Well, I think, no, moving forward, it's all the same things. I mean, it's continuing to be familiar with a rhythm and timing that allows you to deliver a quality pitch. I mean, we always work fastball command. We're always working on feel for secondary stuff. So those things will never change moving forward. Our guys are challenged to see how well they can do that, how consistently they can do that over a course of time.
You also have a call-up to deal with thrown in here as well. A bit of a wrench with Blake Swihart called up to the big leagues. How much of a challenge and a wrench does that throw into this stellar rotation?
Well, first of all, we're real excited for Blake's opportunity, and of course we're pulling for him. We hope he does a wonderful job for our Red Sox. And I think at this level, I think we're pretty kind of accustomed to change, and this is a change that we're going through right now, but very confident in the catchers that we do have here with Matt Spring, of course, Humberto Quintero, that they'll do a fine job. They're very familiar with our guys.
All right, well, Bob, thanks so much for joining us here. We'll let you get back to work.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. 2 down in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Devin Marrero at the plate. And second baseman, or rather, this is Sean Coyle, excuse me. Sean Coyle, the second baseman for this Paw Sox team. 0 for 1 on the day. A lot of good things from Bob Kipper. You know, obviously when you're at this level, change will happen. You're going to have players called up, called down. And it's almost good to get outings like this out of the way early for a pitcher like Brian Johnson, who's got stellar stuff. Obviously one of the top prospects for the Red Sox. The 1-2 upstairs.
If he pitches long enough, he'll have a lot more these days like today. Yeah. There's no way to avoid
in volume, not necessarily in percentage.
Well, this won't be his last one of those days. He'll have another one somewhere along the line. It just happened. There's nothing you can do about it. Grade it, put it in your back pocket, chew on it for a couple of days, and go get them.
There's Bob Kipper talking with Brian Johnson earlier today. Ripped to third. Nice play from Motter, scooping it up and making the long throw across. Coyle retired. It's a 1-2-3 inning. 6 in a row retired by Scott Diamond. A tough outing early on for Brian Johnson in this game, but a good day of relief for Robbie Scott coming out of the bullpen, Bob, to quiet things down.
A couple of called third strikes on the curveball, then the fastball, and then once again dropping down to the left-hander. 4 strikeouts for him in his 2 1/3 innings of work. Very impressive.
And Miguel Celestino now enters for the Paw Sox. Split last season between Portland and Pawtucket. Interesting that his ERA was elevated here in Pawtucket, but he actually had a similar strikeout per inning ratio last year. 9th season for Celestino. Spent his last 6 years in the Boston Red Sox system. Originally came up with Seattle. So a 25-year-old righty, bit of a herky-jerky rotation, or movement, I should say. Will face Matuk, Arancibia, and May to begin the 6th. So Matuk, who's had a productive day already, a 2-run homer in the 3rd. And that was just the start of a big inning for Durham. 6 runs in the 3rd inning. Pitch low and away from Celestino. Seventh outing of the year for Celestino. The 2-0 pop foul. The ERA is pretty good for Celestino after his stint with Pawtucket last year, an ERA hovering around 5. It's about half that this season as he falls behind Matuk 3-1. Line sharply left side and fair off the wall. Matuk rounds first. Quick throw into second, but it's over the head of Devin Marrero. Matuk with a stand at double. He had to hurry to get there, though. That was scalded up the left side.
On the 2-0 pitch, Matuk took a 93-mile-an-hour fastball and was late on it. Hit it down foul to right side. On the 3-1 pitch, he was geared for that fastball. Another 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He turned on this one and did not miss it. The long carom made this a hurry play for Matuk to go into second. Brents get that ball back in quickly. Good throwing arm by Bryce Brents. That long carom, though, is the play that made it fairly close at second. Accurate throw. We might have had a dandy.
There's Arancibia. Squibber up the middle, gets past Coyle. They're going to send Matuk around third, and he will score. RBI single for JP Arancibia, his second hit of the day. And the Durham Bulls extend the lead to 8-2.
This ball were not slowed just a little bit right there, I believe that they would not have been able to send the runner, especially with nobody out and Jackie Bradley in center field. But when the ball was slowed just enough, that made Bradley have to come for a long charge at it in center. And Sandberg sent the doubling Pawtucket around with the 8th Durham run.
There's Luke Maley, who scored after walking in the 3rd. First pitch low and in to the catcher for Durham. Did not play yesterday, 0 for 3 on Friday, so he's searching for his first hit of the series. And for Durham, they're looking to win their 4th consecutive weekend series. Maley with a check swing, little dribbler to second. Coyle will flip to first for the out. 1 away. And Maley is yet to get the ball out of the infield today.
One thing Durham has done today, you like to see it if it's happening to you. You hate it when it's against you. They're making outs. They're advancing runners. And they've done that throughout the whole day. Like a harmless out. It is a harmless out as far as 4-3 putouts concerned, but you wind up with a guy at second now and only 1 out.
Big hack from Corey Brown. Boy, he was searching for the fences on the first pitch.
He was trying to get it into downtown Attleboro with this swing. Woo!
The 0-1.
That one too.
It's always tempting with that first pitch. Always tempting when you get a pitch up in your eyes. This one right belt high. But through all of that, in an 0-2 hole. Arencibia on second after an RBI single. The 0-2. Low and in. Cloud cover starting to take a hold at McCoy Stadium as Celestino checks second and deals inside. So far, Monty, that pitch clock really hasn't come into play today. The 2-2. Grounded up the middle. Tough play for Marrero past second. He'll get Brown 6-3 for the second out.
As deep as Coyle was playing into the right field area, he's a couple steps out of the outfield grass. It's a much easier play for Marrero, who's moving to his left. He was shaded to the bag just a bit anyway, but he fills that ball at about where the normal second baseman would be playing. Up with it quickly, out of the glove into the throwing hand. .6'3" thrown out from second base. How's that?
Quite fleet of foot, Devin Marrero. Only in his 3rd season professionally. First round pick for the Red Sox back in 2012. As here's Reginato with Arencibia moving up to 3rd on the ground out. And a first pitch strike from Celestino. The Paw Sox are going to need a lot more of this from their bullpen, keeping things on the ground. A 6-run deficit for the Paw Sox. And Reginato waving in an 0-1 pitch.
I would seriously have to consider seeing if he would chase that one again. Farther out, maybe just a bit lower.
The 0-2. I nearly did. So a little flinch. Reginato Team's best hitter at .333 entering the day, held back. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Biting pitch in on the hands to Reggianato, and he goes down swinging. Celestino gets out of it. Bulls score another. Scott Diamond has had a superb outing for the Durham Bulls, piling up the strikeouts, Bob Montgomery, and shutting down the Paw Sox.
This guy, a lot like Johnson, is in that strike zone a high percentage of the time. And after he got the 6 runs in the 3rd inning, all he did was started pounding the strike zone. 10 strikeouts for him on the year coming into this game. He has 4 today, all of them swinging.
And he's seemingly gotten better as the days rolled along. Be the top of the order, Bradley, Castillo, and Shaw for the Paw Sox in the 6th. And the first pitch inside to Jackie Bradley Jr. Paw Sox starting to run out of time here without really chipping away. They took the lead 2-1 at the time in the 2nd. As Bradley knocks this one into left for a leadoff single. A good start for the Paw Sox in the 6th.
Second hit for Bradley Jr. today. Both of them, actually, they're carbon copies. Back in the 1st, he hit the same kind of line drive single to left field. This one right in the middle of the plate. I like to see what he's doing there. He's taking the ball, not trying to get too anxious with it, not trying to get power hungry. Solid knock to left.
And Rusney Castillo with his 3rd plate appearance, and he drives this deep into right field. Matuk going back, but in front of the wall, hauls it in. Bit of a ride going opposite field for Castillo, but it's allowed out number 1.
Well, if you were with us in our opening, we showed you some highlights from spring training of Castillo. He's a very aggressive hitter, as we mentioned, and he hits the ball all around the ballpark. It doesn't matter to him, and he's got power in right field to handle that ball, certainly to hit it out of here. Makes him a batter a little tougher to pitch to when they use the entire park.
Here's Travis Shaw. But we've seen flashes from Castillo through spring training and with his limited work here in Pawtucket. 1-0 upstairs from Diamond. Travis Shaw, 2 flyouts, both to left field. One in the 1st, one in the 3rd. For the 2nd time today, Jackie Bradley Jr. leading off an inning on base. See what Pawtucket can do with it here. Nothing doing in the Durham bullpen, and no surprise there with the way Scott Diamond has worked here today. In the air to right center, Matuk and Brown converge, but it's Brown in center who makes the play.
Now batting the fielder, Bryce Prince.
Two away in the 6th. That'll bring up Bryce Prince, the left fielder for Pawtucket, with a single in the 2nd. That's the only, or one of the 2 runs that Pawtucket scored in this game. So he came around on the Luke Montz home run in the 2nd inning. Big hack on the first pitch from Scott Diamond, who continues to pour it into the strike zone.
You got the 6-run lead. Here it is. See if you can hit me into trouble.
Quickly, Brent's in an 0-2 hole.
If you recall in the first part of the game, I mentioned the fact that he had the ability to work both sides of the plate. You saw that perfectly there in the first 2 pitches to Brent. The first pitch kind of out of away from him. That one right back in to keep the hitter honest on the inside corner. Now he's got all kinds of places to go with this 0-2 pitch.
He goes low and away and gets Brent swinging to end the bottom of the 6th. Durham Bulls leading the Paw Sox 8-2 at McCoy Stadium. And Memorial Day, that's Monday, May 25th. You can visit McCoy Stadium and watch the Paw Sox host the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders at 6:15 p.m. After the game, stick around for a spectacular fireworks show. Don't miss the excitement on Memorial Day. For ticket information, you can visit pawsox.com. Alex Faust, Bob Montgomery here with you as we head to the top of the 7th at McCoy Stadium. 8-9-1 due up for the Durham Bulls, who have controlled this game since breaking it open somewhat in the 3rd inning. 6 runs for the Bulls in the 3rd as Miguel Celestino goes back to work, and a first pitch swinging for Casilla, lines it into right. A leadoff single for Casilla, second time he's done that in as many at-bats. It's his 3rd hit of the day.
First one from the left side of the plate because he's faced all left-handers up until this point. Got a pitch to work on, and he whittled it through that hole on the right side quickly. Little speed for Casilla, although the Bulls are not in a running situation here with a 6-run lead.
Here's the number 9 man, Vince Spelnomi. Some activity in the Durham bullpen. Andy Oliver is warming for the Bulls. Of course, well in control. See if they bring Scott Diamond out there for another inning of work. His pitch count is not all that high. It's fouled straight back from Belnomi. Only 81 pitches for Scott Diamond. And for the Paw Sox, this could have been a taxing day on the bullpen, but a great outing from Robbie Scott. And now Miguel Celestino, who outside of that little blip in the early portion of the 6th inning, a double and the single from JPR and CB to drive it in, has been fairly effective. Count evens at 2-2 on Belnomi.
The highest velocity of the day. I checked out a 95 on the radar gun here at McCoy Stadium. Celestino had been around the 92, 93 mile an hour. That would even sounded like it may have been 95.
Here's the 2-2. And it's poked foul. Belnomi is yet to get a hit today, though he's reached twice with 2 walks. As Celestino works the top half of the 7th, and only 9 outs remaining for the Paw Sox at the plate. They have yet to figure out Scott Diamond. The 2-2, low and in. Belnomi in his 3rd season with the Durham Bulls, spent all of last year with the club. Payoff pitch, outside, ball 4. 2 on, nobody out. And Celestino creating a bit of a jam for himself in the 7th.
Now batting third baseman, Taylor Motter.
Turn the lineup over to Taylor Motter, the 3rd baseman, who still has yet to find a base hit today. 0 for 4. Taylor Motter, another guy who's served as a utility player, and a lot of guys who are trying to find slots, as you see Bob Kipper on the phone to the bullpen. Line drive, nice snag. That's short by Marrero, and it's a double play. Looking at 3rd, Cicchini in the right spot to look back Casilla. But the Paw Sox turn 2 on a nifty double play started by Devin Marrero.
Boy, what a fine play. Outstretched, all he could go to his left. This ball is really, really hit hard. It tabbed for center field. Marrero cuts it off. A little underhand flip to Coyle, who has plenty of time to get it on. And now they tried to check the runner, rounding the bag a little bit too aggressively at third, but he's back there in time. Paw Sox turn their 25th double play of the year.
So that erases 2. Garcia is at third now for Velez, who has done plenty of damage today. First pitch, a strike to Eugenio Velez. 2 doubles, run batted in, 2 runs scored.
Ouch.
And it caught Matt Spring, looked like in the left leg.
Right, he got it on that protector that sits right down on top of your foot, and it's never down there far enough, believe me. It'll always hit you where that pad doesn't reach. Yes, sir.
Swollen toes tomorrow. Dana Evelyn warming up for the Paw Sox. Celestino 1 pitch away perhaps from getting out of this inning. Called strike 3 inside corner. Velez does not like it. The Paw Sox get out of the inning after the leadoff single and walk. 6-run game heading to the bottom of the 7th. Durham Bulls with an 8-2 lead over the Paw Sox at McCoy Stadium. On May 29th, be one of the first 3,000 fans aged 14 and under to enter the ballpark when the Paw Sox host Louisville at 7 o'clock and receive a Paw Sox #1 foam finger. For more ticket information, visit pawsox.com. New pitcher for the Durham Bulls, Andy Oliver, relieving Scott Diamond, who barely needed any relief here today. After a stellar outing for Diamond, 6 strong innings, he gives way to Oliver. Will be making his 7th appearance of the season for the Bulls. 2.70 ERA and 6 2/3 for Oliver. Now, Southpaw will go to work against Spring, Cicchini, and Montz. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Paw Sox in the 7th, and a big hole to dig out of. First pitch swinging from Spring, and he's way behind on the fastball. Scott Diamond's day is done after just 81 pitches. Count 1-1 to Matt Spring. And Durham, you can talk about Pawtucket having a good pitching staff. Durham has won the match. 1-1 pitch popped up center field. Corey Brown drifting back, but plenty of room to haul it in. So 1 away, and here's Garen Cicchini. Paw Sox hitters, Monty, have just not been able to figure out first Scott Diamond, and now we'll see what they can do with another lefty here in Andy Oliver. Big hack from Cicchini and an 0-2 count. Garen Cicchini, former 4th round pick for the Red Sox, only 24 years of age. The 0-2 called strike 3, late call, but Cicchini rung up. First strikeout for Andy Oliver.
6 strikeouts now in the day for Durham pitching. This is the first one called. Garen Cicchini, like a little bit of a cutting fastball from the left-hander Oliver, and picks up the outer third of the plate. 2 down quickly here in the Paw Sox 7th.
There's Luke Montz, responsible for both Pawtucket runs. A 2-run shot in the second as he takes strike 1. He went to the deepest part of the park too, Monty.
Way into deep right center field.
Oliver's throwing some serious heat here. Montz behind on the fastball and behind 0-2.
First pitch 90, that one 91.
Regardless of what it's ringing up on the radar, Cicchini was behind on a couple and Montz chasing a high fastball.
Well, they didn't see any velocity near that from Diamond while he was in the game. He's 87, 88 with a great deal of movement. Remember I said earlier in this game, give me a lot of movement, not so much velocity.
Called strike 3 on Luke Montz. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for Andy Oliver out of the Durham bullpen. Bulls in control at McCoy Stadium. "11 hits, 8 runs for Durham, and an 8-2 lead for the Bulls over the Paw Sox. If you're planning a group outing, birthday party, or just want to enjoy a night out, come to McCoy Stadium for exciting AAA baseball. The Paw Sox return to McCoy Stadium May 11th through the 17th as they host Indianapolis and Columbus. Visit pawsox.com for ticket information. New pitcher for the Paw Sox into the game after Miguel Celestino goes 2 innings for the Paw Sox. Dana Evelyn coming out of the bullpen. This will be his 8th appearance of the year. Celestino going 2 innings with 1 run, 3 hits allowed, 2 strikeouts, and 1 walk. He'll face 3, 4, and 5 for the Bulls in the 8th. And Evelyn's first pitch grounded up the middle for a base hit. Durham has been getting the leadoff man on with regularity in this game. There has not been one inning, Bob, where Durham has not had at least one base runner in this game.
Quite aggressive at the plate when the pitches are in the strike zone and quite choosy when they have been just out of the strike zone.
Arancibia behind on a first pitch fastball.
But Took may be making a case for himself. Next time they need somebody in the big leagues, let it be me rather than Butler. 3 for 4 on the day.
High strike on 0-1. And Arancibia at an 0-2 hole. Arancibia, his name's somewhat familiar as well. We mentioned former Toronto Blue Jay, played last season with the Texas Rangers. On 0-2, looping fly ball in a shallow center. A nice play from Coyle. He flips to second to get the out. Well, he knew that he wasn't going to catch that cleanly, but had the wherewithal to flip back to second.
Base runner's in nowhere land. He can't run because he at that point it looks like Coyle may be able to get the glove on it, so the runner has to hold. Coyle quickly feels the ball on 1 bounce and accurate throw for the force play at second.
That's difficult to do.
Oh.
Back turn to the infield. Here is Luke Maley. So Arancibia reaches for the 4th time today, though 2 by way of the fielder's choice. Grounded near short. Collision between Cicchini and Marrero. They nearly turned the double play anyway. But had it not been for the miscommunication, it would have been clean.
What concentration does Marrero have here and display? Cicchini is cutting to his left in an attempt to cut this ball off. Now, right there, that's pretty tough to have the guy bump into you, first of all, your vision is being impaired a bit because the guy running across in front of you. Fine play by Marrero at short, and that's not his first of the day either, by the way.
Whose ball should that be? It's a tough chopper.
It's a tough call. If the third baseman can get it, he should, because you are looking at a pretty simple 5-4-3 double play if that can happen. However, that ball was just kind of in between the two of them there. Giacchini couldn't quite get there, and Marrero was able to keep a presence of mind and make a play out of it, at least get one out of the deal.
Grounded to first. Easy play for Shaw to retire Brown. Through 7.5 at McCoy Stadium. A lot of digging to do still for the Paw Sox. Paw Sox, despite trailing 8-2, have shown some flashy defense, Bob.
Sean Coyle at second, way out into deep right field to snag that hard hit ball. He'll get up with an accurate throw, and then Marrero has been really something at second. Well, now actually he's a second baseman. I said second because he's on the second base side of the bag to get that one. And this one at shortstop to start a 6-4-3 double play. And then the play there that he just had back in the top of this inning with Giacchini cutting across in front of him to make another fielder's choice. The Paw Sox have done a fine job in the field today with that leather.
New pitcher for Durham, Jordan Roberto. This will be his 8th appearance of the year. Stellar numbers out of the bullpen. 1 save for the lefty, and they've gone all lefties here today against the Paw Sox as Devin Marrero takes a strike.
Maybe the rest of the league's finding out something here.
Yeah.
If I got left-handers, I'm pitching them when I get to McCoy. Wouldn't bet on it, though.
Paw Sox have only had 1 base runner the last 4 innings. Shallow pop fly center field. Brown charging in and makes a nice sliding play. Devin Marrero put it right in the middle of that triangle, and Brown had to cover a lot of ground to get there.
That wind has died considerably in this ballpark now. Norberto says, oh yeah, I like that when that happens.
I bring up Sean Coyle, the second baseman. He's yet to get the ball out of the infield today. 2 groundouts for Coyle. Durham with 6 runs in the third as Zeke Spruill warms up for the Paw Sox in the bullpen. Likely come out of the pen for the 9th.
Now the Paw Sox are off tomorrow, so this will be a chance for some guys to get a little inning or 2 under their belt out of the bullpen. They'd like to have that happen, obviously, under different circumstances, but it's not. They'll get to work anyway.
And this has been a stellar Durham bullpen, speaking of bullpens. Even though the Paw Sox having to use a couple pitchers here, Durham, after a solid start from Scott Diamond, has popped up to the right side, slicing towards the line, and it'll get out of play just past the reach of Pawtucket.
He got a glove on it, and he just has this ball elude him.
Oh, he actually overran it.
He had a good part of the glove on it. The ball actually hit back in the heel of the glove. Probably wasn't quite sure how much room he had left. It's quite an effort by the Durham right fielder.
Starting to say with his Durham bullpen, as here's the 1-2 upstairs. They have just 1 earned run in their last 17 combined innings. And the starting pitching's been stellar enough, but once you get late in the games with a lead, Durham has been hard to beat this year. And they're potentially en route to winning their 4th straight series. 2-2 upstairs. Payoff pitch to Sean Coyle inside, and he throws a walk. Well, that'll bring up Jackie Bradley Jr., who's having a nice day. 2 base hits for the Paw Sox center fielder.
Cut out of the same mold. Both fastballs kind of over the outer third of the plate. Both of them lined sharply right at the left fielder, Eugenio Velez.
Bradley, especially going the other way. Very good look for Bradley at the plate today.
The big league pitching ate him alive last year from the middle of the plate in. He could not do anything about getting the barrel of the bat where the pitch was. By doing what he's doing now, maybe it looks like to me he's backed off the plate just a little bit, which would move that inside pitch out away from him a little bit more. If he continues to do that, when hitters make adjustments against pitchers, then you make pitchers make adjustments. So if they keep throwing you inside and you keep missing it, they're not going anywhere else. You clear a couple of those out of there, then you make them go somewhere else, maybe even have to throw a pitch into your strength occasionally.
Line in as center. Brown going back. He's turned around twice and hauls it in for the second out. That was an adventure for Corey Brown.
Bradley Jr. today has nailed 3 balls. I mean, right on the button. 2 base hits we showed you just a moment ago to left field, and this ball to straightaway center is really, really hit hard. Now that ball a little more in. Notice how he had to get the hands into his body a little better. Corey Brown got turned around, but got it figured out in time.
Yeah, he'll live with that. Grounded to short and an easy put away. Castillo retired, and the Paw Sox are down to the 8th, trailing by 6 at the end of 8. Durham Bulls leading the Paw Sox 8-2. The big club's back on NESN tomorrow. The Red Sox open up a 3-game set against the Tampa Bay Rays. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. with Men's Warehouse first pitch, followed by the game at 7 o'clock. TC done. Company back in action. Sox playing tonight, of course, wrapping up their series against the New York Yankees. New pitcher for the Paw Sox into the game. Zeke Sproul will be the 5th different pitcher for Pawtucket here today after Dana Evelyn goes 1 inning, only 1 hit allowed. Let's take a look at Sproul coming into the game. This will be his 10th appearance of the year. ERA hovering around 4.3. Those hits per inning, that number probably want to reduce it a bit. 21 hits in 12 2/3. Face the bottom third of the Durham order, Reginaldo Casilla and Belnome. He's quickly ahead of Reginaldo, 0-2. Look out.
Now here's a spot here where the young guy, I haven't seen this young man pitch before. He's got this guy 0-2. He throws him a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and he was way, way, way late. Here's where you don't want to do anything about speeding up his bat by throwing him any kind of a breaking ball. That's it. You got to get him where he has to make the adjustment to you. He has to wait a little bit longer, and I'm talking about the batter now has to wait a bit longer. Thumb of the glove of Matt Spring into the backstop.
The 1-2 in the dirt. See, you're shaking your head. You go to the off-speed pitch there on 1-2,
Well,
and now the count is even.
If you want to throw it there, that's fine, but you got to make sure you throw it in the dirt there. If I had a guy that fouled the ball off that late on me, 0-2, and I've got a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, he's going to get it again.
Got it that time and grounded it to second. Coyle with the put away. I'll bring up Casilla.
If I throw a guy an 0-2 fastball and he's a right-hand hitter and he hits it foul down the third baseline, no, I got a different thought process that I'm working on.
So 1 away, and Casilla, who's having a 3-hit day. Singles each of his last 3 at-bats. Late on the first pitch and foul down the left field line. Just barely misses off the outer portion of the plate. Zeke Spruill has a nice pop to that fastball. Acquired in a trade with the Diamondbacks this offseason. There's a called strike. Scouting report has him with 2 pitches, mainly a fastball and a curve, but keeps most everything on the ground. The 1-2. Called strike 3. Nice placement of the fastball to ring up Casilla for out number 2.
Casilla possibly looking for a breaking ball here, thinking, well, yeah, oh yeah, little tailing fastball comes back. Whole ball is on the inner part of the plate.
So with 2 away, the number 9 man, Bill Nomi, who takes strike 1. Ball and a strike now to the Durham Bulls first baseman. Grounded to second. Coyle backing up. Nice play. Retires Belnomi. Coyle has been superb from second base here today. A lot of flashy plays in the field. Last licks for the Paw Sox coming up. Bottom of the 9th at McCoy Stadium. Durham Bulls pulled away to a 8-2 lead. 6 runs in the 3rd, a run in the 6th. And a new pitcher for Durham, Ronald Belisario. This will be his 8th outing of the year, 1.35 ERA, though somewhat of a limited sample size, 6 2/3 innings pitched. But he has 3 saves for the Durham Bulls this year. Their regular closer, although they have a couple that they've tossed out there this year. He'll face Shaw, Brents, and Spring. The last hope for Durham, the last hope for the Paw Sox, rather, in the bottom of the 9th. Durham pitching has been stellar as advertised. ERA, staff ERA, hovering around 3 entering the day. And Durham potentially en route to winning their 4th consecutive series. Here's Travis Shaw, who fouls the first pitch away. Shaw behind 0-2. Shaw is actually added to the 40-man roster for the Boston Red Sox during the offseason, which prevented him from being snapped up in the Rule 5 draft. And the 0-2 outside. Had a good spring this year. Hit a homer off of New York Yankees closer Andrew Miller, former Red Sox bullpen ace. The 1-2 on the ground to second. Easy play for Casilla. 1 away. A glimpse of Kevin Boyles. Tough day today, but Paw Sox team that's sitting at 15-9, 15-10. They lose here today. And in first place in the North Division of the International League. Largely on the back, Monty, of strong pitching. Well, they didn't get it today, but they've been consistent through the season, something that the big club has been looking for.
Yes, indeed. They have. The pitching has kept them in games. They've had some. One of their biggest innings to score runs is in the middle part of the game, the 6th and 7th inning. So their pitching staff, starters and relievers, have kept them in games. That's allowed their offense to let them come from behind to win a lot of games. I think about 4 or 5 of their wins have come in their last at bat. One of them was our opening day game here on NESN when Bryce Brentz hit the 1-out bottom of the 9th home run to win that ball game. So as long as their pitching stays consistent, their offense is there, they're never really out of a game. Obviously today with a 6-run 3rd inning, they could not get back in this one.
And it is Brentz at the plate here. Only 4 hits today for the Paw Sox.
Got a little tip of the hat to the pitching of the Durham Bulls, especially to Scott Diamond. He got the big lead. He didn't get out of that strike zone very often.
Big swing from Brentz on a 3-1 pitch in on the hands, and the count runs full. A little bit disappointed too that we didn't see any sort of shenanigans with the pitch clock here today, as Brentz draws a walk. All the new rules they have here, and of course it's an experiment at this level. But everyone in baseball has the same goal right now of improving the pace of play. And it's done its job today. This game has flown by despite a rocky 3rd inning where the Durham Bulls batted around. Here's Matt Spring.
Yesterday they played in 2 hours and 14 minutes here at McCoy.
It's interesting, a lot, especially at the lower levels of the minors, a lot of players who don't know any better with stepping out of the box. And
well, that's what they're trying to instill here. If they can have this work at the minor league level where players get used to playing with a little faster pace, not so much time on the mound and getting in the box, what part of their design is hopefully when they get to the big leagues, they remember how that went, but it's not going to.
Well, I saw something the other day. They've shaved a good 7-8 minutes off the average time of games in baseball, and now you have a large enough sample size across a month and a half. And remember, they don't have a pitch clock. They have the in-between innings time tightened up a bit of the majors this year.
Well, I can tell you one thing that's going to stop that. If they don't have another 15 or 20 seconds to do a commercial in there, you'll watch that go away pretty soon.
Got to pay the bill. You got to pay the bills.
That's my point.
0-2 still to Matt Spring, who's battling here against Ronald Belisario.
It's going to be quite a battle for baseball to ever get this into the big leagues, and on my guess.
Well, you're dealing with players union as well. Scalded to the left side, over the glove of Reginato into left. And a base hit for Matt Spring with 1 away.
Matt Spring's had some pretty good whacks up there today. Couple strikeouts for him. This one got the fastball right at the letters, and he did not miss it. Solid sinking liner to left field.
So runners at first and second for Pawtucket, and here's Garin Cecchini. Cecchini still searching for his first hit of the day. The 0-1. 0-2. Brentz at second, Spring at first. Paw Sox down to their final 2 outs. Called strike 3 on Garin Cecchini. Frozen on a sinking pitch from Ronald Belisario.
He just went right to the outer third of the plate with a little downward movement. That's probably a split-fingered fastball pitch there. Notice the little, like the turnover where it went downhill.
8th strikeout for Durham pitching today. And Luke Montz, last hope for the Paw Sox. It's interesting how quickly this game seemed to pivot. Paw Sox had taken a 2-1 lead in the second inning of this game off a Luke Montz home run. Count of 1-1 here, and then Durham explodes for those 6 in the third. Paw Sox down to their final strike here. Called strike 3. Montz is rung up to end the ballgame. The 9th strikeout for Durham. And it comes to end the game as the Bulls take an 8-2 victory over the Paw Sox here at McCoy Stadium, and they win the weekend series, their 4th consecutive series victory. As Durham improves to 14-11, Paw Sox drop to 15-10. Red Sox Report is coming up next on NESN. For Bob Montgomery, our producer Kevin Cedergren, and our entire NESN production crew, this is Alex Faust saying so long from Pawtucket. Until next time, bye for now.